Alright, so I don't know what day this is, but we'll go with day 3. The boom from the mast, you can see here, was pretty chipped up, nicked and everything else from all the use. So got my sander out. I'm going to give this a sand down and a repaint. So that's the first thing I'm doing. Took all the I guess the rigging hookings up off, cleats. I'm going to leave these rollers on, and I'm just going to tape them up after, because they're riveted in, and I don't have the right rivets, and plus they're square, so it should be pretty easy to tape those up for painting. The other stuff like cleats and everything, so I got that off. I got the outhaul track off, and it looks like it was glued on actually. See the glue coming off here. So yeah, so I'm just going to basically give it a good sanding, and I'm going to put some kind of anti-oxide paint, then a primer, and then I'm going to use the top coat finishing. I'm still deciding on what color. My mast is black right now, so I don't know if I should make this still be black or if I should change colors or what. So I haven't decided yet what to do there. But essentially, yeah, I just want to. This is like a huge amount of flaking off that's been going on over the years that it was in use. So I'm gonna do that. Otherwise, it's in pretty good shape actually. Nice aluminum mat. All right, so just a quick update. So using the random orbital here on the air compressor to do the sanding. So that's about 15 minutes maybe worth of sanding. I started out there for a bit, and then I had a bad. The sandpaper wasn't very good, so I switched it to a new one, and it definitely went a little bit faster, but then it kind of died up pretty quick too. This paint's something else. So it looks like there's 3 layers. So they got the protecting coatant, then they hit the primer, and then they put the black top coat. So they did do it right. Just flaking off, I guess, just due to age, and maybe the primer didn't stick 100% on it. But yeah, or the paint on top maybe was bad. I don't know. Maybe that's the primer coat underneath that I'm seeing, and not actually the aluminum. But anyways, so it took about 15 minutes maybe. So I'm looking at about probably hours for the side and 2 hours for the other side, sanding wise. So about 4 hours to sand just the boom down. And this boom's, I think, 11 feet long. My mast is 47 feet tall. So that's where I'll be, about 4 hours worth of sanding, and then I'll be painting it. Well, I did some sanding, and it took me about 15-20 minutes to do that much. So I just got some paint varnish remover, and I'm just going to try some of this here just as a test to see if this makes it any easier. Quickly and easily strips off multiple layers of oiled latex and epoxy paint. Blah blah blah. Pour some remover. Brush a generous coat. Let stand for 15 minutes or until paint blisters. So I'm going to get some gloves. So the instructions say to put some on and let it sit for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to try some there on the end and see if this is any easier than the way I was doing it with the sander. The sander definitely was going to go through a lot of sandpaper at the rate I was going there. So I'm going to try this. And we'll see what it does. It's very jelly. It reminds me of I don't know, sledge, frozen ice or something. So all right, let's just do that as a test and see what happens. Well, I don't know if it's any faster with the paint stripper. It does work, but I don't know if being a curved surface makes it any harder. I don't think it's any faster. Maybe in sanding, but it's kind of small. So it's kind of like a gel. So there's no question that it did it. I don't know. I think that the more that you put it on, the more it takes off. Or a lot on. I'll put more on this time. That's what. I think maybe I spread it around too thin. Just leave it on thick. No, that's 1/2. 1/2 applied. Put a little bit more on down here. So you can see it's already picking up. So the stuff does work. Maybe, like I said, just got to put more of it on to get the full scraping, or to be not so hard to scrape. Yeah, well, I think that's pretty good. So you can see it takes about, I don't know, 5 minutes to drip on. It's not very long. And then 15 minutes to wait for it to bubble up, and then you tackle it. This is after about 15 minutes here. So it definitely does work. You just got to kind of lay it on thicker. So I didn't put it on thick enough, I don't think, last time. That's what I did wrong. But, so I went over it again, these spots here, so they're coming off. So there you go, paint stripper works. And it seems like I'm getting down right to the aluminum too. So it's taken all 3 layers, the primer, the undercoating, the aluminum undercoating, as well as the top coat here. So that's very good. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Ooh. All right, so that definitely was faster. So that's how she looks. Got most of it off, a few little flakes. I'll just finish that off with a little bit of sanding. And there's a little bit on the other side still, but looking pretty clean. So definitely big on the stripping. And then this is what I used. Circa 1850 heavy body paint and varnish remover. And it's a gel formula. And it pretty much took it right down. Did a little bit of scraping, with the scraper, the steel putty scraper, and yeah, pretty much got everything off. It took a couple hours. I'm pretty much all done. Just a little bit of cleanup there tomorrow before I paint. So I'm gonna rub it down with acetone, and then see what we're putting the 2000X. I forget what they call it, an oxidizer or antioxidizer, something like that. And then I noticed over here, it was weird, there was kind of like looks like a chip has been taken out, so somebody was doing something and they drilled out a piece here, So I'm just going to put a piece of tape, and then I'm going to just fill that up with epoxy because it's not used, just to fill up the hole basically. So I've got to do that. Next I'll be doing the spinnaker pole there in the back with the same process. Alright, so getting ready for my first coat of Interlux 2000E, and I have to start by just taping up these two, I'm drawing a blank here what they're called, I'm tired. These two, what do you call it, rigging blocks. So I'm just going to tape them up so the sheaves don't get all painted up. And then I'm going to put a couple of coats on. And this is the paint here, the Interlux 2000E. It is a, this is the first coat to go on. This one here is a 3:1 ratio. And I'm going to thin it with some thinner. I think it needs a slightly different one, but this is the only one I have here right now, so I'm going to give this a go. Yeah, so that should be good, hopefully. Another action shot here. Get an idea of what I'm doing. Not much left. So a quarter can got me one coat. There we go. Coat number one done. A quarter. I still have a little bit left. Let me put another little bit on this side. So mixed 1 part the Interlux 2001E, 3 parts the 2000E, and this is a second base coat for the aluminum. And I added about probably about 10-15% thinner in it, and it seems to be pretty good. I think I have about 20 minutes to work with it, like I say, so I got to get moving, and I'm going to put the second coat on. Alright, update here. This is with 2 coats of the Interlux 2000. And I just put the pre-coat, so the primer on top of it, so one coat of primer. So it looks pretty good. So just basically rotating it here on this pipe to get both ends without having to do like a side and then another side. So basically I kind of painted it, rotated it, painted it. So I got the whole thing done in one sweep. So the pre-coat needs to wait for 2 to 10 hours, kind of in that range. But I'm not going to paint in the second coat because I'm going to be away for the weekend, so it'll be a few days.